You know, it is fitting that we have this press conference during National Principals Month. Principals wear so many hats. They are budget makers, they're disciplinarians, they are counselors, they're mentors, they're managers, so many different things. But one of the most important things we need our principals to be is an instructional leader. That is so crucial, especially today, especially as we face the challenges we're trying to do to grow from any academic lag we may have had during the pandemic. And we are so fortunate that the principal of Kelly Edwards is just that, a true instructional leader that's taking her expertise in data-driven planning and data-driven instruction and has been able to really help Kelly Edwards have such remarkable growth and achievement over these last few years. So it is my honor to be able to introduce Kelly Edwards principal, Miss Monique Smalls, and I ask you if you would please help me welcome her to the podium.
Gotta get the nerves out. Good morning. So I wrote my notes so I don't make sure I don't make any mistakes and leave people out. So as you know, I'm Monique Smalls, and I am the proud principal of Kelly Edwards School, Elementary School. And I'm truly honored to stand before each of you to represent a very special school in an extraordinary community. The success we are celebrating today is the result of a tremendous team effort. When I accepted the position of principal of Kelly Edwards Elementary School, I was looking for a challenge to make a difference in the lives of teachers and students here in Williston. To my surprise, I found much, much more. I found a team committed to serving the children of Williston with excellence. I was immediately welcomed into this school and wider community as well, and it was filled with so much love. I embraced this feeling and chose to lead with love, focusing and celebrating our growth in spite of our achievement gaps. Growth over gaps became our mantra. It was noted in every meeting, hung for all to see in our hallway. And focusing on our growth over gaps, we were able to guide and support teachers into a better understanding of curriculum, best practice, and data analysis. We were able to target student interventions, incentivize student growth and achievement, and get students excited about learning and their personal gains. In my tenure, we've made school, school. That's what we say. We made school, school. We made safely and intentionally doing this what was best for students, for children. Was it easy? Absolutely not, but it was worth it. Kelly Edwards is again rated excellent, as recognized by our state report card, and I celebrate our team for this feat. I'd like to spend a little time this morning describing our team, if that's okay. First of all, we are all here today because of the support of our parents, our guardians, our extended family members, and the Williston-Elko community at large. It's no secret to the people who live here, but for me as a relative newcomer, I have been and continue to be impressed by the pride and care that the people of this town take in their schools and in these students. Our families are engaged, and our community partners never fail to fill in gaps where the needs of our students are concerned. Whether it's Save the Children grandparent, a Kelly Edwards alum, a faithful neighbor, or a local church, a huge part of our success is owed to the fact that everyone inside of this building is rooted on by many people outside of these four walls. We also give credit to our district leadership, past and present, beginning with our school board members who go above and beyond to set policies that support the whole child, growing and focusing on so much more than just test scores. Likewise, we have been fortunate to serve under leadership of Superintendent Dr. Marcella Shaw and Mr. David Porter. And they both attest to their commitment to the kinds of decision making that points all towards student achievement. These leaders make it easier for all of us to do the day-to-day work of ensuring that students' needs are met inside and outside of the classroom. Next on the list, my incredible Kelly Edwards faculty and staff. You will never meet a more dedicated, loving, hardworking, selfless, and inspiring group of people. I really do love my team. Nothing, I mean nothing, is easy in the world of education, y'all. But I dare say that even on our easiest days, it's still not for the faint of heart. But I dare you to find a building anywhere in the state that loves these students more than we do. Our teachers show up every day with their game faces on because they know we don't have a moment to waste. They have spent countless hours in collaborative meetings, analyzing data, and attending training, all to improve their effectiveness. And it's paid off. I wish that every single one of them could stand up here with us now, because we are excellent, because they are excellent. And last but certainly not least, the reason we are gathered here today is because our scholars did it. They did it. They showed themselves that nothing is beyond their reach. They have learned that hard work and perseverance pays off. And most importantly, they showed the entire state of South Carolina that their big dreams can be achieved in even the smallest of places. I stand before you not saying that I've done anything miraculous, but be blessed to be a principal here at Kelly Edwards.
Wow. If there's a dry eye after that. All right, well, let's go ahead and open it up if our friends in the media have any questions. And I would, of course, invite the wonderful ladies who spoke with me to join me up here to, answer any questions on the hot seat. So do we have any questions? Yes, sir.
Yes, you mentioned the graduation rate, but the difference as far as the percentage of career readiness or college readiness. How do we get those high school students ready for that next step?
I think that's a great question, and that's something that, April, if you'd like to come up here and talk about, I know you're particularly passionate about it, but I think that ensuring that a high school diploma means college and career readiness is the goal that we have to set here in South Carolina. And we have many wonderful opportunities that we are pursuing now to ensure that our students are being instructed in the careers of the future, AI, computer science, and that there are clear pathways for how they get to from the classroom to their future careers. So connecting learning with that real world relevance. And I know, April, that's something that you've been particularly passionate about. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Sure. I think there's, I think it's about, it's about being ready and having choices, right? And so for students to take advantage of all the opportunities there are for dual credit and for all the STEM education and all the different things that might be of interest to them. It may or may not be where they ultimately end up going, but go ahead and scratch that itch and learn about it and take advantage of what schools have to offer. Just yesterday, the Education Oversight Committee passed out some new standards for dual enrollment and recognizing the importance of that so that we better prepare our students, right? So it is a ongoing process. There's never going to be a one and done because what happens after graduation continues to change. So we have to keep working on it and keep working on it.
And I think one of the things that I'm particularly excited about that we are working on right now in partnership with our technical colleges is the idea of mobile career and technology labs. We know that not every community in the state has the ability to invest in a state-of-the-art CTE center, and so why can't we bring state-of-the-art CTE materials to them? Every student in every district in every school deserves the connection to the opportunities, the workforce opportunities of the future. And so that's one tangible way that we can support them. I think the last thing I'll say on that is just internships and apprenticeships. We have a strong apprenticeship program here that is continually growing in South Carolina, and I think continuing to look at how we can build that out. I know an internship was integral in my own career. Sometimes you have to be willing to work for free and get the coffee to get the experience that you need to be successful in the workplace. And so continuing to encourage students to harness those opportunities when they're presented to them, I think, is how we help close that gap. Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
As mentioned, the science of reading really one of your big priorities. So what is being done this year to start implementing that strategy, and what can we expect in the years to come for that?
thank you for asking that. That really is the foundational priority if we are going to lay the foundation for long-term success that we know is possible in South Carolina. So in partnership with the General Assembly, we now have the funding to ensure that every K-3 teacher in South Carolina is fully trained in the science of reading. We have a cohort of about 5,000 teachers that are starting that letters journey. This fall, we'll have another cohort in January that will start, and I believe we'll have one more cohort following that in the fall of 2024. And so as we continue to invest in the professional development of our teachers, we also are in the curriculum adoption process for high quality instructional materials that are aligned to the science of reading. So we really have a window of opportunity here in South Carolina in this foundational field of literacy that I don't think we've ever had. And so I'm so excited, again, investing in our principal leadership and the high quality instructional materials and in the professional development that our teachers need to use those materials well and with fidelity. I think the sky's the limit. I think we're going to continue to see incredible growth in reading. We've only scratched the surface. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Unlike your, the schools that are below average, how do we create equity for those schools across the state? How much of that involves consolidating school districts?
Well, we've seen a lot of consolidation happening in our rural communities, as our superintendent referenced here, is something that the Barnwell community is currently experiencing. I think there's a lot that we can do to deliver shared services to districts, whether or not they fully consolidate or not. But I truly think that whatever the community, whatever the challenges the school faces, it really comes back to having a great principal in that school who is using those high quality instructional materials and empowering their teachers with the tools that they need to teach those tools or to teach that curriculum with fidelity and with excellence. And that's the secret sauce for success for our schools across the state. Ultimately, I think the way that we build equal opportunity for every student in South Carolina is ensuring that they have the gift of literacy, full stop.
More specifically, do you have a plan for those schools that do fall below unsatisfactory? We heard the plan about reading and science for the schools that are succeeding, but what about those schools who aren't?
Absolutely. And so interestingly enough, this letters journey in the science of reading actually started in our Palmetto Literacy Project schools, which are the schools most in need of intervention on those reading scores. And so that focus will continue across the state, and we're expanding it beyond just literacy. One of my top budget priorities this year in my presentation to the General Assembly will be around how can we create a Palmetto math project to focus on those disparities in math. We know that literacy and math go hand in hand as the foundational skills that students have to have if they're going to be successful in life. And so again, that Palmetto math project, just like the Palmetto literacy project, will be targeted to our schools most in need of the interventions. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Is the state doing any research into why exactly students have fallen behind in things like science and math?
It's a great question. I know that these are trends that we're seeing across the country, and I know that we are reading research and talking with our peers in other states every day to learn from the strategies that they're pursuing to close those gaps. One of the things that I'm very excited that we are working to stand up at the Department of Education is high-dose tutoring. The research is showing us that if you want to close those gaps in math, that you need one-on-one or small group instruction in addition to the classroom instruction time that takes place. So 30 minutes of high-dose tutoring in a week can help catch students up, and that's something that, again, the General Assembly has provided us funds to implement, and we're in the process of gathering best practices from other states to figure out how we can do that well here in South Carolina.
Got time for two more.
For principal smalls, I know you mentioned the different strategies you all had to use, like targeting growth and things like that. I know for your folks in the education sphere, you all know what this means, but for the folks at home, what does this look like in practice in the
Okay.
classroom?
So our students take a diagnostic that basically tells us where they score for the year. In that diagnostic, we are able to determine the deficits, what areas of weakness that they have, and we're able to target those deficits. Our teachers are able to say for instance, a student is struggling in the realm of inferencing. That diagnostic will tell us specifically, and we're able to do that during our intervention block. I was telling Ms. Weaver earlier, we do tier 1 instruction during our normal block. That's grade level instruction for those who aren't teachers. And then we have created an hour-long intervention block. It's where we address those deficits. So that diagnostic produces what our students are struggling in. We then turn around and we help our students with that during intervention.
And Principal Williams, could you explain the red, yellow, green that you were telling me about?
So red, obviously, we color code our students. Our students know the colors as well. And we have talked about this with parents. We color code them red, yellow, green. Red indicates that they didn't meet and that there's some areas that we definitely need to work on. Yellow is our approaches students who are almost there, but they need a little extra push. And then our green are meet, so they're right on target, meeting the standard, and we do that in our summative assessments, we do that in our diagnostic, we do that in our formative. We create what we call student mastery criteria, so we know what it looks like for a student to actually achieve and meet a standard prior to moving on to the next skill.
And what I love about what Principal Smalls is talking about here is that there's a lot of jargon in education. And what we have to do is speak with clarity so that we can have alignment. And so that red, yellow, green system that she's talked about is taking it down to a level that even our youngest students can understand. And that's how we build partnerships with parents, with the community. It's not throwing acronyms and buzzwords at them. It's talking to them like the real stakeholders that they are in language that everyone can understand, embrace, and then act upon. And I think that's really a huge part of your success here at Kelly Edwards. Last question.
One challenge that we've kind of seen statewide is kind of related to the teacher shortage. Are there any initiatives, measures that you all would be looking to support or try to get the General Assembly to do to kind of help teach kids because they don't have a teacher in the classroom? It's a little tough.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. We will certainly continue to be advocating for raising teacher pay across this state. We have seen tremendous progress in getting South Carolina to the southeastern average over the last few years. We're going to continue to push that forward. I think we also need to look at innovations that we're seeing work across South Carolina and across the country in terms of strategic compensation on top of teachers' base pay. So whether you have a senior teacher who is serving as a mentor to those new teachers, we lose most of our teachers in the first 5 years. And so we have to find a way to bridge that gap. And, I never once have heard a teacher tell me, gosh, it was that third-year pedagogy class that made me a great teacher. They always talk about another teacher who mentored them, a great principal who coached them. And so I think we need to be rewarding our experienced teachers for the experience that they bring to the classroom. I think we need to be looking at ways to incentivize educators into areas of high need, whether that be communities of need or whether that be special populations. We know that we need special education teachers like there's no tomorrow. We need teachers in math. We need elementary school teachers. So we know that there are specific types of teachers that we're looking for. And so I think continuing to look at ways that we can grow alternative pathways to certification, people who might be looking for a second career, ways that we can incentivize teachers who are maybe on the sidelines right now and don't want to come back to school full-time but might be willing to give us some part-time benefit of their experience. I think there's a lot of things that we need to be looking at, but it's going to require an all of the above strategy for sure because we're in desperate need of teachers.